I'm 73 years old, and I'm about to tell you what nobody told me when I was your age. 3 months ago, I attended the funeral of my best friend, Richard. We had known each other for 47 years, built our careers together, raised our families in the same neighborhood, played golf every Sunday for 3 decades. At his service, his daughter, a woman in her early 50s, stood up to speak. She said, "My father was a good man. He worked hard. He provided for us. But I never really knew him." The church went silent. You could feel the discomfort rippling through the pews, because we all knew she was telling the truth. Richard had been a good man, and he had been a ghost in his own life. After the service, his daughter approached me. Her eyes were red, but there was something else there too. Anger, maybe, or regret. "Uncle Frank," she said. She'd called me that since she was 6. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course. Did my father ever talk to you about being happy?" I didn't know how to answer, because the truth was, we'd never discussed it. Not once in 47 years. We talked about business, sports, politics, health problems. But happiness? That felt too intimate, too vulnerable, too much like admitting something might be wrong. "I don't think we used that word much," I finally said. She nodded, like she'd expected that answer. I wish someone had asked him. I wish someone had told him it was okay to want more than just existing. I've thought about that conversation every single day since. If this is resonating with you, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. These are the conversations we need to be having, and I share them every week. Let me tell you what I've learned in 73 years on this planet. Not the sanitized version we tell at dinner parties. The real version. The one that might make you uncomfortable because it's going to ask you to look at yourself honestly. I spent the first 50 years of my life sleepwalking. I was awake, working, functioning, checking boxes. But I wasn't actually alive, not in the way that matters. I thought I was doing everything right. I went to college, got the degree, married a good woman, had 3 children, built a successful accounting practice. I provided. I was responsible. I showed up. I did my duty. But here's what nobody tells you. You can do everything right and still miss your entire life. My wife, Catherine, God rest her soul, she knew. Women always know. They see things were too busy or too afraid to see Dot. About 10 years before she died, we were sitting on the back porch. It was one of those perfect autumn evenings, the kind where the air smells like wood smoke and possibility. She said, "Frank, when was the last time you were really happy?" I thought about it. I started listing things. Well, when Sarah graduated, when we bought this house, when... No, she interrupted. Not proud, not satisfied. Happy. When did you last feel joy? I couldn't answer, because I couldn't remember. She took my hand. You've been running your whole life, Frank, but you've never stopped to ask yourself what you're running toward, or what you're running from. That conversation haunted me, because she was right. I'd been in motion for 50 years, but I'd never stopped to ask myself why. I'd just accepted that this was what life was. Work hard, provide, be responsible, sacrifice, postpone. Wait. Wait for what? For retirement? For some magical moment when I'd finally earned the right to enjoy my life? I'm 73 now. Catherine passed 5 years ago, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, that moment never comes. There is no finish line where someone hands you permission to finally be happy. You either choose it now, or you die waiting for it. After Catherine died, something in me broke open. Maybe it was grief. Maybe it was rage at all the time we'd wasted. But I started doing something I'd never done before. I started asking people about their inner lives. Real questions. Uncomfortable questions. The kind that make people shift in their seats. I asked my children, "Are you happy?" Not, "How's work?" Not, "How are the kids?" Just, "Are you happy?" I asked my friends, "What do you regret most?" Not over drinks, not as a joke. I genuinely wanted to know. And I started asking myself, what have I been avoiding my entire life? If you're still with me, leave a comment below. Tell me, what have you been avoiding? Sometimes naming it is the first step to healing it. Let me tell you what I discovered. What everyone discovers if they're brave enough to look. We avoid our inner lives because we're terrified of what we'll find there. We're terrified we'll discover we're not who we pretend to be, that we're not as good, as strong, as together as our carefully constructed image suggests. So we stay busy. We fill every moment with activity, with noise, with distraction. We tell ourselves we'll deal with the deeper questions later, when we have more time, when things settle down, when we retire. But things never settle down. And retirement doesn't magically grant you access to your soul. If you haven't been tending to your inner life for 50 years, you can't just flip a switch at 65 and suddenly know who you are. My son, Daniel, is 51, successful architect, beautiful family, big house, everything I worked so hard to give him the opportunity to have. Last year, he came to visit me. We were sitting in my living room, the same room where he'd grown up, and he said, "Dad, I don't know who I am anymore." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I know what I do. I know my roles. Husband, father, architect, son. But if you take all those away, I don't know what's left. I don't know who I actually am underneath all of it." My heart broke, because I recognized myself in him. That same emptiness. That same sense of having built a beautiful structure with nothing inside. "You want to know the truth?" I said. "I didn't figure that out until I was 68 years old. Don't wait as long as I did." He looked at me with tears in his eyes. How do I even start? And that's the question, isn't it? How do we start cultivating an inner life when we've spent decades avoiding it? Here's what I've learned. It starts with stillness. Not meditation, though that can help. Not religion, though that can help too. Just stillness. Time alone with yourself. Time to hear your own thoughts. Time to feel your own feelings without immediately distracting yourself from them. I started taking walks, not for exercise, not listening to podcasts or phone calls, just walking, alone, in silence. And at first, it was unbearable. My mind raced. I felt anxious, uncomfortable, like I was wasting time. But gradually, something shifted. In that silence, I started hearing a voice I'd been drowning out for 50 years. My own voice, my real voice. Not the one that tells me what I should do or what others expect, but the one that knows what I actually feel, what I actually want, what actually matters to me. I discovered I'd been living according to a script I'd never agreed to. A script written by my parents, my culture, my generation. Be strong. Don't complain. Provide. Succeed. Don't feel too much. Don't want too much. Don't ask for too much. That script had kept me safe, but it had also kept me small. My daughter, Rebecca, is 48. She called me last month, crying. Her marriage was falling apart, not because of infidelity or cruelty, because of indifference, because they'd both been so busy building lives that they'd forgotten to build a life together. "Dad," she said, "how did you and Mom stay together for 46 years? I could have given her the easy answer, the one about commitment and sacrifice and working through the hard times. And those things are true, but they're not the whole truth. Your mother saved me," I said. She refused to let me hide. She kept asking me the hard questions. She kept pulling me back to what mattered. I fought her on it for years. I thought she was being too emotional, too demanding. But she was actually trying to keep me alive, to keep us alive. "I don't know how to do that," Rebecca whispered. Neither did I, but here is what I wish I understood earlier. Your inner life isn't separate from your relationships. It's the foundation of them. If you don't know yourself, you can't truly know anyone else. If you're not honest with yourself, you can't be honest with your partner. If you're not present with your own feelings, you can't be present with theirs. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Whether you're 40, 50, 60, it's not too late. But it also isn't getting any easier. Every year you postpone this work, every year you tell yourself you'll deal with it later, you're building a deeper chasm between who you are and who you're pretending to be. And one day you'll be 73 like me, looking back at decades of sleepwalking, wishing someone had shaken you awake. So I'm shaking you awake right now. Before I continue, if this is hitting home, leave a like on this video. It tells me these conversations matter to you, and it helps me reach others who need to hear this. Here's what cultivating an inner life actually means. It means asking yourself questions you've been avoiding. What do I actually feel right now? Not what I should feel. What I do feel. What do I actually want? Not what I'm supposed to want. What I genuinely desire. What am I afraid of? And is that fear protecting me or imprisoning me? What have I been sacrificing? And was it worth it? Who am I when nobody's watching? When I'm not performing any role, these questions are uncomfortable. They're supposed to be, because growth only happens in discomfort. Your soul only speaks when you're quiet enough to hear it. I have a friend, Margaret, 76 years old, lost her husband 8 years ago. For the first year, she was devastated. But then something remarkable happened. She told me, "Frank, I spent 52 years being a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and I loved those roles. But I'd forgotten there was a person underneath them, someone with her own dreams, her own desires, her own voice." At 76, Margaret went back to school. She'd always wanted to study astronomy. Her whole life, she'd pushed that dream aside as impractical, selfish, indulgent. Now she's working on her degree. She lights up when she talks about it. "I don't know how many years I have left," she told me. "But however many they are, I'm going to spend them knowing myself. Really knowing myself. That's what I want for you. Not when you retire. Not when the kids are grown. Not when you have more time. Now, today, whatever age you are. Because here is the devastating truth. Your outer life will never satisfy you if your inner life is empty. No amount of success, money, recognition, or achievement will fill that void. I've watched people spend their entire lives trying. It doesn't work. You can have everything the world says you should want and still feel hollow inside. Or you can have very little and feel deeply fulfilled. The difference isn't in your circumstances. It's in your relationship with yourself. My grandson is 28. Smart kid. Just like I was at his age. Ambitious. Driven. Focused on building his career. I watch him and see myself, and it breaks my heart. Last time he visited, I said, "Can I give you some advice you won't want to hear?" He smiled. "Sure, Grandpa. Your career will never love you back. Your achievements will never hold you when you're scared. Your resume will never ask you how you're really doing. So please, please, don't make the mistake I made. Don't postpone your inner life until you've achieved enough outer success. You'll never achieve enough. The goalpost keeps moving. And meanwhile, you'll be a stranger to yourself." He nodded politely. I could see he didn't really understand. How could he? I didn't understand it at 28 either. We all have to learn these lessons in our own time. But maybe you're ready. Maybe something in your life has cracked open enough that you can hear this. Maybe you've achieved everything you thought you wanted and discovered it isn't enough. Maybe you've lost something precious and realized what actually matters. Maybe you're just tired of pretending. Whatever brought you here, I'm glad you're listening. Because this is the conversation we should all be having. Not about productivity or success or achievement. About the quality of our inner lives. About whether we're truly alive or just going through the motions. I spent 50 years building a fortress around my heart. Brick by brick, I made myself impenetrable. strong, believable, unshakable, and completely disconnected from my own soul. It took Catherine dying for me to finally tear down those walls. And when I did, I discovered something astonishing. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the only way to be fully human. It's the only way to truly connect to yourself, to others, to life itself. These last 5 years, since Catherine passed, have been the most alive I've ever felt. Not because I'm happy all the time. I'm not. I grieve. I feel lonely. I feel afraid. But I feel. That's the difference. I'm no longer numb. I'm no longer hiding. I'm finally present for my own life. And I want that for you. Not 50 years from now. Not when you retire. Not when circumstances are perfect. No. In whatever life you're living right now. Start small. Start with 5 minutes of silence each day. Start with asking yourself one honest question. Start with feeling one emotion all the way through instead of pushing it away. Start with telling one person one true thing about your inner world. Your soul has been waiting your entire life for you to pay attention to it. It's been sending you messages through your dreams, your body, your unexpected emotional reactions, your inexplicable longings. It's been trying to guide you home to yourself. Stop ignoring it. Stop postponing it. Stop telling yourself you'll deal with it later. Later comes faster than you think. And the regret of a life half lived is heavier than any burden you're carrying now. I'm 73 years old. I don't know how many more years I have, but however many they are, I'm going to spend them awake. Fully awake, present, connected to myself and the people I love. That's all I want for you too. To wake up before it's too late. To know yourself before you die. To live your one precious life instead of sleepwalking through it. The world will tell you this doesn't matter. The world will tell you to focus on success, achievement, productivity. The world is wrong. Your inner life is the only life you have. Everything else is just scenery. Don't wait 50 years to figure that out. I'm here telling you now. Wake up. Your soul is calling. It's been calling your whole life. It's time to finally answer. If you liked this story, subscribe for more stories like this.